Good evening, everyone. This is Melissa Thomas of Florida National News coming to you with the FNN Evening News Rundown for your Friday. So congrats on making it to the weekend. Of course, it is June 12th, 2020, a significant date, and we'll come back to that here shortly. But as usual, we like to give you the latest reports in COVID-19 cases and deaths globally here in the United States and in the state of Florida. So according to the World Health Organization, we are seeing over 7.4 million confirmed cases and over 418,000 confirmed deaths. According to the CDC, here in the US, we're seeing over 2 million confirmed cases, and we're closing in on 114,000 confirmed deaths. Here in the state of Florida, we're approaching 71,000 confirmed cases, and we're over 2,870 confirmed deaths. Now, the world story as it relates to COVID-19, the top site in Paris is set to reopen at the end of June. The Eiffel Tower is going to reopen to tourists June 25th officially after over 3 months of closure, which is the longest closure that the Eiffel Tower has experienced since World War II. So congrats to France for being able to reopen that here soon. For tourists that are visiting, face masks will be required for visitors over 11 years old. So if you have your face, if you're going, make sure you have your face masks. And the stairs are going to be the only area that's available. The elevators will remain closed, obviously. Tight enclosed space. They want to make sure to maintain social distancing for those who do want to visit. So only the stairs. And then the top level, they said, will remain closed until a little later in the summer for that. Other medical precautions include the cleaning and disinfecting of all the public spaces around the Eiffel Tower site. So if you're going, expect all of that as well. Other sites in France that are reopening or have reopened already include the Palace of Versailles, which actually opened this past Saturday, June 6th, and the Louvre Museum. The Louvre Museum will reopen July 6th. So for those who are traveling in France, you guys have some sites to look forward to. Now, jumping to our first US story, Hawaii is extending its quarantine, its 14-day quarantine for travelers who are incoming into the state. Governor David Ige decided to do that extension on Wednesday, and the extension will last till the end of July. He's currently, the state of Hawaii is currently working to solidify the screening process to allow travelers to come in or to return in some cases, because there are folks who have left Hawaii or who left during the quarantine and couldn't come back. So they're working on a way to allow them to return. The full lockdown started back in March, and it was complete, not only for travelers coming in, but travelers going from island to island as well. It was a full lockdown, and there were some charges. There was one lady who did get arrested. She was traveling to Waikiki from one of the other islands, and she was arrested for that. However, inter-island lockdown will be eased next week. So folks throughout the islands will be able to travel inter-island again. However, travelers still have that ban until July. And as of right now, the state is announcing that they're in development in their airport to create thermal screening stations and facial recognition technology as well. So we'll continue to keep you posted where that's concerned. Our second US story, which is huge in terms of legislation as it relates to the recent protests in the wake of George Floyd's death and the death of Breonna Taylor, more specifically. The city of Louisville, Kentucky is passing Breonna's Law. This is a legislation that was passed with unanimous vote, 26-0 in the Louisville Metro Council. And the mayor said, quote, he would sign it, quote, as soon as it crosses my desk. So congratulations to the city of Louisville. The family attorney for Breonna Taylor mentioned that she was an EMT and she saved lives while she was alive, and now in death, she'll be saving lives forever, end quote. Now, the ordinance, it regulates how search warrants are going to be conducted, but in addition, it also mandates that body cams be operational during all search warrants as they're being carried out. The body cams have to be turned on 5 minutes prior to the search, and any data or footage collected from the body cameras have to remain on record and in archives for up to 5 years. Now, at the federal level, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul also has introduced a bill that is banning no-knock warrants for federal agents. So this is big news for the state of Kentucky. He's banning no-knock warrants on a federal level, and his his legislation that he's introducing would also block law enforcement agencies, local and state, to get any funding that they acquire from no-knock warrants. So again, watch this space. We'll continue to keep you updated with that. Now, this brings us to our audience question. What are your thoughts on this legislation, the Breonna's Law? Do you think it's a great step, in that direction to create change for policing? Do you think it's a bad idea? Do you think it's something that other states should adopt? Leave a comment below on any side of the argument that you're on. We'd love to hear from you guys. Right now, we're going to take a quick commercial break and bring you a bunch of Florida stories. We'll be right back.
All this time we fought side by side. We trained together. We lost together. And now, you're the only one standing in my way. It's been a while, old friend.
Welcome back to the Evening News Rundown. Thank you for sticking with us. So our first Florida story for the day is that you likely heard this by now, but the Republican National Committee has selected Jacksonville for the new location for the GOP convention. And it'll be taking place the week of August 24th, and it will take place at the ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena. So congrats to Jacksonville. There were a lot of other states who were vying for the convention, given the amount of the size crowds that it will draw. So congrats to Jacksonville. Of course, Governor Ron DeSantis was honored, quote unquote, those are his words, to receive, to be able to host the convention this year, especially after the clash between President Trump and the North Carolina governor, who was concerned about safety issues with regards to social distancing for the state of North Carolina. Now, for initial medical precautions that will be taking place, according to the RNC. Initially, there will be some social distancing here. We'll see how that goes. However, they'll also be doing temperature checks for attendees that are coming, and a large supply of hand sanitizer to keep folks safe and prepared for when they're there. So that's the big story that was announced yesterday, Thursday. So be prepared, guys. If you're in the state of Florida, there's going to be a large crowd, particularly in North Florida, as the voters descend for the convention. Now, story number 2 for the state of Florida. This brings us back to the dates. Today is June 12th, which is the 4th anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting, which is still recognized to this day as one of the most horrific mass shootings in the nation. And because of that, the Florida House representatives that represent us in Congress, particularly Congressman Darren Soto, Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy, and Congresswoman Val Demings. They had introduced a bill back in March that passed the House Committee on Natural Resources that proposes the Pulse nightclub to be turned into a national memorial site. It passed through committee, and now it's going to go to the floor for a vote at the end of this month, at the end of June. So congratulations to all those who were involved in making this bill a possibility, and to One Pulse Foundation, which is a nonprofit that was formed by the Pulse CEO, Barbara, who decided to do that to raise funds and raise awareness for the shooting, and turn the Pulse nightclub into at least a local memorial. Folks visited the Pulse Memorial today, obviously a very bittersweet occasion for some. However, with One Foundation, their plans are, when they convert it to a national memorial site, they will also have what's going to be called the Orlando Health Survivors Walkway. And this will be launched in 2022. So it'll be not only the Pulse nightclub, but the properties around it. So stay tuned here. We'll continue to cover the different updates and changes as the construction begins on that, because in the meantime, there's still some existing businesses surrounding the property, but we'll continue to keep you guys updated on that. It's Florida story number 3 for you. We just got the announcement this afternoon that the Orange County CARES funding site, the application that is specifically for the individual and family assistance application, will be back online as of Monday, June 15th. As you see the tweet here, that site had gone down back on Tuesday after receiving 50,000 individual applications. According to Orange County government, that site can only take about 25,000 applications at a time. So after receiving 50,000, clearly there was an issue there. They had to take the system down. Again, if you need to go ahead and do that application, it is ocfl.net/cares. Okay, ocfl.net/cares. Okay, so that is our bunch of Florida stories for you. We're going to take one more quick commercial break. And we're going to bring you your business, sports, and entertainment stories. We'll be right back.
At Duke Energy, we deliver electricity and so much more, like free home energy assessments, rebates for energy-saving improvements, payment options to help you better manage your budget, and even bill credits for helping the community use less energy. So no matter what you're doing, we can help you make better energy choices every day. It's just another way we bring power to your life. How much can you save?
Welcome back, guys. Thanks for tuning in with us. Now for your business story, TikTok's parent company ByteDance has actually basically tripled its US workforce over the last year. They began with 300 US employees in the previous year, and has hired 700 just here in the United States over the last year to bring it to a total of 1,000 employees. Obviously, TikTok has come under huge scrutiny, being a Chinese tech company. So folks were worried that, there's a big surveillance issue going on, national security risk with the use of the app. So as a way for perhaps damage control, the company is making sure to hire as many US staff as possible to pass off the majority of the workload to US employees. Now, several of the positions or the roles that they've decided to fill here in the United States includes engineers, as far as data management. They want to make sure that at least the data management is secured here in the United States to pass off the onus, if you will. And they've been hiring senior executives and expanding its presence in the United States. Of course, we reported here on the Evening News Rundown a couple weeks ago that Walt Disney's CEO, Kevin Mayer, they've named Kevin Mayer, the COO and CEO of TikTok, They made sure to hire him on as COO and CEO. So congrats to him with that. And they're planning to hire an additional 100 security, data, and privacy protection staff by the end of this year. So the US workforce will continue to grow where TikTok is concerned. If you're someone who uses that app, just be mindful. All right. We're going to jump over to sports very quickly with the NHL. They're planning to open their training camps for season restart July 10th. You'll hear more details about this likely with Casey Hudson when she brings the FNN Sports Take. She, for one, has been super excited for the return of the NHL. And as she mentioned before, it's a playoff format. So this will be, the return to play will begin July 10th if conditions related to COVID-19 will allow that. And these guys are currently in their phase 2 of their protocol. So NHL team training centers will reopen this week for small groups. Phase 3 will be the opening of training camps, which are expected to last up to 3 weeks. Phase 4, which is the restart of the season, that will have a 2014 postseason tournament that starts in August. So quick update there with the sports. And now jumping over to entertainment, you guys heard us talk about today being the date that Los Angeles is going to resume filmmaking for TV and film. So there are some strict rules that are going to be in place. The rules allow for productions to resume as soon as today, although in reality, most are not expected to get underway till July or August. But for those who are prepared, today was their first day. So the county, LA County's rules include essential cast and crew only. So, everybody has to have cloth face coverings, not just a surgical mask, but the cloth ones. And it prescribes that actors should wash their hands before all their scenes. Any prolonged physical contact, like fight scenes, are encouraged right now. And actors are mandated to keep as silent as possible to avoid spreading droplets through talking, because of course, that's how COVID-19 spreads, through the droplets. Actors and musicians who cannot wear face coverings during performances should keep 8 feet apart instead of the usual 6 feet. And the rules allow for paid staff to serve as audience members for talk shows or sitcoms. For instance, that mandates that they sit 6 feet apart, just to kind of prevent the thickness of a bunch of people in the audience. Folks that are on staff will take the place of those audience. And again, much like you've heard us talking about with restaurants and other businesses, that audience is limited, the indoor capacity is limited to 25% of the available space. So that is the update there with entertainment. And for those who are involved in filmmaking in Los Angeles, congrats for being able to get back to that grind. I'm sure everyone has been looking forward to getting back to it after having to sit it out for 2 to 3 months. And that does it for us here at the Evening News Rundown, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't yet, be sure to like us on Facebook. You can find us there at Florida National News, at FNN News TV, and at FNN News Live. And of course, on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and click the little bell. You'll find us there at Florida National News as well. Now, of course, stay tuned at Florida National News because at 8 p.m. tonight, it is Friday. So we will see Casey again for the FNN Sports Take at 8 p.m. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your Friday evening.